day, and it was Sam Darnold shines, Sam Darnold dazzles. And by the way, I'm not trying to take anything away from the highlight that we saw that day or the other day. It's not like we're trying to hate on it. It's just saying you can't just treat that in a vacuum. You have to apply the entire body of work when you're making these evaluations. Deshaun Kaiser, by the way, best pro day I've ever been to. That guy looked like unbelievable. He looked like the next Peyton Manning out there. And then we know what happened. So you can't take too much away from these pro days.
I just want to say the last time I went to a pro day, it was also 2018. It was Lamar Jackson. He did not run the 40. He fell in the draft. And guess what? All you had to do was watch the tape. And you saw that he was an unworldly talent. So reminder to everyone, tape matters so much more than anything else you're going to see at a pro day. All right, just had to get that in.
Right, and one thing I would add, too, just as we're talking about this, I mean, it also matters who you're surrounded with at the NFL level. If you look at what Sam Darnold's been surrounded with, who's coached him, what's been going on at the spot that he ended up, that has to matter, too, and I think it's important to point out. So let's stay on that, Mina. When you talk about what's going to happen with the Jets at that number 2 pick, and let's say they do draft a quarterback, whether it's Wilson or not, then people wonder, okay, well, what's going to happen to Sam Darnold? But you have put together a list of teams who should be calling the Jets about him. Let's talk about that now.
So I do think the Jets are going to draft a quarterback. I would be shocked at this point if they don't. I think it's going to be Zach Wilson. So the next question is, who might trade for Sam? His value is probably suppressed at this point. There's upside there. To me, 3 teams come to mind. The number 1 team that I think should consider this, should seriously look into it, is Chicago. Okay, Andy Dalton, obviously, not only is he not the long-term answer, with Sam, you can give your organization some hope, some upside. Hey, maybe we might find something in him and it's not going to cost us very much. They don't have any other options where they're picking the draft. Then you've got Denver. Drew Lock, unfortunately, has not lived up to, he has not proven that he's a franchise quarterback or a starter. He also missed games last year. And then Pittsburgh, well, Ben Roethlisberger is nearing the end of the road. They don't have an answer for quarterback of the future. I know they have Haskins. Why not bring Darnold in as well and let him compete? To me, worth taking a flyer on for the Steelers as well.
I love those teams. I think Chicago makes so much sense because there's like this unknown upside for Sam Darnold. You never know out in Chicago. It might save your job. I absolutely love Denver because if Drew Lock struggles, like we can move on. Pittsburgh, actually, like I'll throw another one out there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, let's just imagine we get to draft night and you can go get Sam Darnold if you're Tampa for a 3rd-round pick. You like it could make a ton of sense. He gets to sit. You don't have to force him on the field, and now he gets to walk into a significantly healthier situation, and Tampa can kind of just keep the train rolling in another year or 2.
I kind of like that. And Jeff, you're really, you know Tom Brady well. You know all kinds of things about him.
Doesn't like it.
How would he feel about Sam Darnold coming on there and maybe having to, like, I don't know that he'd have to bring him along, but you know what I mean, that quarterback room?
Yeah, I mean, Tom doesn't bring guys along. I know that.
Right.
He just doesn't do that. He's nice about it. He just doesn't do it. But by the way, if you're coming back to the point, if you're going to give up, if you're just going to get a 3rd-round pick for Sam Darnold, I'm not trying to instigate another debate, but why wouldn't you just keep him? Why wouldn't you keep him as your potential backup if you need it at a really good cost and just decline his 5th-year option? I just don't think if the value is a 3rd-round pick, that it's really worth sending him away when you could just have another good quarterback on your roster as your young guy comes up.
My only pushback is his value is not going to increase next year. If you're drafting the quarterback, you're going to play him. The last thing I will say is this. When the Jets take Zach Wilson at number 2, and I think they're gonna, he better be stinking great, okay? Because you're not just taking a 2nd pick. You're taking a 2nd pick at the same position that you just took a young quarterback at with the 3rd pick overall in the draft, and you're also passing on 3 or 4 more 1st-round picks to select him. You better be special.
Yeah, the Jets have drafted 10 quarterbacks in the last 15 seasons. If you were wondering, that's more than any other team. All right, we're talking about some pro days here, and even though Dan apparently doesn't like them, I do. Let's talk about Justin Fields, his pro day tomorrow. I think something that you'll see early on is his competitiveness. And I get it, it's a pro day, right? But this guy competes against himself. It's one of the reasons why he pushed himself to transfer, to find a new home for himself in college football in Ohio State. Yes, there's things about his game that are unfinished. I think he's going to look around at other pro days and say, I want mine to be better than that other quarterback that he knows might go ahead of him, Mina.
To me, I'll be looking for two of Justin Fields' best traits that he showed in big games like against Clemson. His athleticism, we've seen how fast he runs the 40 informally, and then his accuracy to all levels of the field. Short, intermediate, and deep. He puts the ball on the money. I think we're going to see that on display.
Yeah, one of the things you're going to hear, though, is people are going to say, well, he's just a big athlete. Well, he's also a quarterback, okay? I want everyone to watch. You got a high-low on the right side now because it's middle field open, but you have to find vision on that safety to the right. Now, as that safety drifts back to the middle of the field and stays on that hash, the high-low to the right side is dead. Too many bodies over there. Justin Fields has the quarterback now. Come to the left. Now, as you go left, you're going to get internal pressure. I need you to slide. Don't run. Slide. Move. Shuffle. And keep yourself as a passer. Now we go to another high-low. A return and a corner route. See that corner. If he stays back, throw the return route. If he jumps up, put the ball over his head. That's number 4 in your option in a perfectly placed back pylon throw to the corner to Wilson. So you are going to hear big, strong, powerful athlete, run fast. That's awesome. Don't let those lazy people take away from the fact that this young man can play quarterback as well.
Yeah, the mental side, I don't think it's talked about enough with Justin Fields. And listen, I mentioned his competitiveness. He's also aware that Mac Jones and this Alabama squad is having another pro day tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for this. They hold their second pro day. It's a 2-hour exclusive that starts at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central over on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Something to watch. Running back Najee Harris, who didn't work out at the first pro day, should be working out tomorrow. And possibly Jalen Waddle. Will we see him run the 40-yard dash? After the break, the Buccaneers bringing their Super Bowl winning starters back. Should we be surprised? Well, apparently Bruce Arians let us know at the Super Bowl parade, right?
We're going to keep this band together. You ain't going nowhere. No, you ain't going nowhere either.
That Adam Schefter broke the news of a blockbuster trade that changed the NFL draft order big time could also have affected Wilson. We'll see about that. And plenty of signs still pointing to the Jets taking Wilson at that number 2 pick. And listen, if you like people throwing a football against zero defenses, that pro day was pretty, okay? But what did you see from Zach Wilson's pro day, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, pro days are stupid.
Oh, no.
That being said, the throw that kind of blew up the internet, that was a sick throw. That was a sick throw. I was with Matthew Stafford for 3 years, and it's one of the best throws I've seen, at least in that environment. That being said, that throw, that talent is not going to fix the Jets. It is not going to make you the dumpster fire that you are right now. It's not going to change you. Here's the reality. For Zach Wilson, his talent off the field needs to be as good as the talent on the field. Because Lamar Jackson has vaulted Baltimore ahead because he's got a competitive fire. And Josh Allen has vaulted Buffalo ahead because he's beloved by his teammates. Baker Mayfield has taken Cleveland to new heights because he's got his moxie. Patrick Mahomes has taken the Chiefs to a different area because he's got that alpha leadership. For the Jets to get fixed, it's got to be more than talent. Because here's a news flash. They got a guy on their roster that's made that throw, that can make that throw. And so for him to flip that organization, it's got to be about the stuff that you just can't watch at a pro day.
Yeah, Dan, the last time I was at a pro day, it was in March of 2018, and there was this guy out there in Los Angeles throwing dimes in the downpour rain. And guess what his name was? Sam Darnold.
Thank you.
You look at the headlines from that pro day, and it was Sam Darnold shines.
That Adam Schefter broke the news of a blockbuster trade that changed the NFL draft order big time could also have affected Wilson. We'll see about that. And plenty of signs still pointing to the Jets taking Wilson at that number 2 pick. And listen, if you like people throwing a football against zero defenses, that pro day was pretty, okay? But what did you see from Zach Wilson's pro day, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, pro days are stupid.
No.
That being said, the throw that kind of blew up the internet, that was a sick throw. That was a sick throw. I was with Matthew Stafford for 3 years, and it's one of the best throws I've seen, at least in that environment. That being said, that throw, that talent is not going to fix the Jets. It is not going to make you the dumpster fire that you are right now. It's not going to change you. Here's the reality. For Zach Wilson, his talent off the field needs to be as good as the talent on the field. Because Lamar Jackson has vaulted Baltimore ahead because he's got a competitive fire. And Josh Allen has vaulted Buffalo ahead because he's beloved by his teammates. Baker Mayfield has taken Cleveland to new heights because he's got his moxie. Patrick Mahomes has taken the Chiefs to a different area because he's got that alpha leadership. For the Jets to get fixed, it's got to be more than talent. Because here's a news flash. They got a guy on their roster that's made that throw, that can make that throw. And so for him to flip that organization, it's got to be about the stuff that you just can't watch at a pro day.
Yeah, Dan, the last time I was at a pro day, it was in March of 2018. And there was this guy out there in Los Angeles throwing dimes in the downpour rain. And guess what his name was? Sam Darnold.
Thank you.
You look at the headlines from that pro day, and it was Sam Darnold shines. Sam